There's a way that emotions can be explained with music and captured with music, and to write about that is really a challenge, but it's the most fun I've ever had, and that's probably because I've been waiting my whole life to do a book about music, be able to combine my two loves in the world of the arts, writing and music.
And he has done it, and that's Mitch Albom, and Mitch is here to talk about his soon-to-be, of course, New York Times best-selling book. It's called The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto. It'll just be another in the long list of New York Times bestsellers for this columnist, syndicated columnist, screenwriter, etc. And welcome.
Thank you.
And musician.
Yeah.
I guess I didn't know that musician, and you were a musician, you say first, right?
Yeah, that was actually my first love. That was my always intent, and that's what I wanted to be. Didn't work out, and I kind of slid into writing, took all my creative
too bad that didn't work out either. Yeah.
Yeah, well, so far so good.
Slid into writing. All right, so this novel, The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto, he's a guitar player.
Right.
And each one of the strings has a special significance affecting other people's lives.
He's sort of the greatest guitar player to ever walk the planet, and because he suffers so much in his early life, he's an orphan, he goes through a lot of trauma, he's sort of granted by the gods this guitar that can change people's lives, 6 lives, 1 for each string. Whenever he changes a life with his playing, the string turns blue, and then it basically dissipates, and he's used that one up like a genie's wish. It's, of course, a metaphor for the way that we affect each other with our talents. You know, ever since I wrote Tuesdays with Maury, I've been hearing people come up to me and say, "Oh, your book changed my life." And first 100 times I heard that, I thought to myself, how can a book change your life, really? But after I heard it enough times, I began to think, well, what if, you know, a talent actually can change lives? And I sort of focused and created this character who really can, to prove that the things that we're given, the gifts that we're given, do have that kind of effect on people.
Interesting. Now, interesting you say you thought, how could a book change somebody's life? Have you ever read a book that at least had a profound effect on you?
Well,
would make it easier to understand why people...
as I look back on it, I mean, not so much like, oh, I need to live my life differently from here on in, because I sort of had that experience in real life with Maury.
Right.
But there have been books that I look back on that were so inspiring when I read them in terms of the way that they were written, that I said, I want to be like that. I want to write like that. And you think if somebody performs music that way and you say, I want to be a musician like that, you want to become it. Someone does a news program and you say, that's what I want to be. Their talent affected you. So Frankie Presto basically affects everybody he runs into. And he's sort of this Forrest Gump-like character that he's fake, but everybody else in the book is real. And so it was a lot of fun to weave him in. He was with Duke Ellington, he was with Hank Williams, he substituted for Elvis Presley one night when Elvis couldn't make it and nobody knew the difference. He was at Woodstock, and so it's a real tour de force of 20th century music.
The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto. All right, let me morph off a little bit the debate. I know you had other things you were doing during the last presidential debate when it aired, but what you saw some highlights or lowlights, as you put it. What's your impression?
Well, my feeling on all of these debates is that it's become a bit of a circus. You know,
just the Republicans?
No, all of them.
Okay.
You know, as someone who covered sports for a long time in his life, it reminds me very much of sports. Overanalyzed, broken down, strategies, pitting people against one another. And I always remind myself, we're a year away from the election, you know, and a lot of this stuff is going to be forgotten by that point. So I try to keep it in that kind of perspective.
Okay, let me ask you about sports and where we are. Recently at the University of Missouri, of course, the football team played a very integral part in what, I mean, I think was a whole bogus affair. Now they're saying that the whole swastika with feces never existed, much like hands up, don't shoot. But
a little late for the president and the chancellor, isn't it?
But the football team, see, if they had any guts, they'd say, you don't play, you lose your scholarship, you go home. But of course, they make their millions of dollars off the football team. What was your take on them getting so directly involved?
Well, I didn't like the way it all played out. I don't think teams should threaten this or that. But, you know, play with fire, get burned. And colleges have turned football into a multi-billion-dollar industry. So now all of a sudden they're faced with a team not playing. It's going to cost them $1 million if they don't play. You know, you created that system. You milked it. You made a lot of money off of it. Don't be surprised when the power can be used against you sometimes
precedent,
as well.
You think more teams will?
A very dangerous precedent, because you know, when you're 18 and 19 years old, taking a stand on something may not, may seem like the right thing to do at the moment, but you're at college to learn, not necessarily to act like you already know it all. I was surprised that the coach and the athletic director went along with it. That's where I don't think there'll be precedents, because those people are employed by the universities as well. But I think Missouri right now obviously is a state that is going through a lot of focus and turmoil. It's a hotbed place. And perhaps that engendered a lot of this stuff.
All right. Well, listen, it is a pleasure to see you. And the book, again, folks, The Magic Strings of Frankie Presto, from the one and only Mitch Albom. So pick it up and be entertained and enthralled, as you always are when you read one of Mitch's books. More of the Steve Malzberg Show coming up next, so don't go away right here on Newsmax Television. Thank you.